right, hello everyone. So for today's video, I'm going to show you guys how to upload a CSV file into your database using Python. Okay, so first things first, you're going to need a few apps for this video today. You're going to need Xampp, and I've already made a video before how to install Xampp and MySQL and MariaDB. So you can go check out that video first before doing this video. All right, so for all the code for today that I'm going to show you guys, I've linked it and I've put it into my GitHub repository. So I'll link this website in the link in the description below. So if you go to Python repo, I've added the steps that I'm going to go through today. And if you go to Python SQL code, and this is a Python file, I've added in my Python code of what to do. You're going to have to change in a few things like the host, use your password, your database name, and I'll run through everything for that right now. Okay, so that is that. That's where you can find the code. So first things first, you're going to need to open up Xampp. So like I said before, hopefully you have it installed. So we're just going to go on to Xampp and we're going to start Apache and MySQL. Okay. So they're both green. Now we're going to click on MySQL admin. All right, let's click on that. And I have a few databases already existing from before. So we're going to create a new database. So we're going to head on over to SQL and we're going to write create database. And let's say this database name is grades. Okay. And we're going to click on go. All right, so I have a new database called grades. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to create a table. Okay, so I'm going to write create table. And let's say these are student grades. And in student grades, I'm going to have names and it's going to be varchar 20. So one of the field names is going to be, oh, sorry, slight typo over there. So one of the field names is going to be names, and let's add in exam grades as another field name. Let's also write that in as a varchar. Okay. Right, so this is going to be a table with field names, var names, and exam grades. So this is going to be under the table name of student grades. So we're going to click on go. Right, so I have a new table that's created over here. And let's go to an Excel file and let's actually create that CSV file. So I'm going to click on a blank workbook. Now in this column over here, let's just say like this is going to be where all the data for student grades is going to be. So we had one of the column names to be names and the other one to be exam grades, right? So let's just add in a few names like Aisha, Gabby, Bob, Dylan, and let's just add in a few grades, right? 76, 90, 89, and 78. Okay, so we're going to head on over to file and we're just going to click save as, and I'm just going to put this in my PC. Yeah, let's put in Windows. Let's write this in as student grades. Okay, and I'm just going to save as a CSV comma delimited. So let's put that in. Right, so we're going to head on over and create the Python code. So you can do this in any kind of Python IDE. I made a video showing how to install Python and how to install PyCharm. So we're going to do in PyCharm. So what you can do here is you can create a new Python file and you can name it whatever you want. So in this case, let's just write it as test file. Okay, test file. And using the code that I put in my GitHub, I'm just going to copy and paste all of this. Okay, so let's go back and find the CSV file that I created. So I put it in my users. So I put it over here, student grades. Right, so here is where it is. So I'm just gonna head on over to properties, and this is gonna give me the exact location of where it is in my computer. And where it says file open, that's where we're gonna write it in as, okay? So this is gonna be the file destination. I'm just gonna put this in. So let me just make it a little bit bigger for you guys. All right, so I'm gonna put this in over here. And what my CSV file was called was student grades. Right, so I'm just gonna write student grades over here and .csv. And I'm just gonna put this in on the other side so Python can recognize it. So this is the exact file location. Okay, now what this Python code basically is doing, it's importing CSV and it's importing MySQL DB. Okay, so it's gonna connect to your account over here. Now, so for the account bit over here, you can use a pre-existing account that you have from before, or you can create a new one, right? So if you go to privileges over here, you can use either one of these, right? And what you put in here is what your host is, what your user is, your password, and your database. DB stands for database. So our database that we created, what we created was grades, right? So we're gonna write that in as grades over here. But for this video, let's just create a new user account. And so for the username, let's write it in as test user 2. Okay, let's make this a local host. All right, and for our password, let's just write it in as admin, something simple. Okay, so we're gonna click on grant all privileges, and we're gonna check all for global privileges, and we're gonna click on go. Okay, so our account name was test user. So instead of test user, I believe I wrote in as test user 2. So host was localhost, password was admin. I didn't change that. Now this tidbit over here. So this is going to open up our file, our CSV file, which is student grades, and I gave in the exact path. Now this is going to read the file, and this is going to go through every row in that file. Now you don't have to print your row if you don't want to, but again, if you want to see your row being printed, you can also do that. All right. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to want to insert into our table, right? And if you go back, our table name was student grades, right? And that is what we wrote in, student grades. And our field names were names and let's head back. What was it again? Names and exam grades. So let's write that in, names and exam grades. So because I only have 2 field names, I can delete the one over here and I can delete this over here. Okay, because I only have 2 field names. So again, there's only going to be 2 values. Okay, so you're going to see that when it goes through every row in the CSV file, it's going to insert into your table student marks. Okay, it's going to insert name and it's going to insert your exam grades. All right, sorry, a slight mistake. Yeah, so slight typo over here. This was actually called student grades based off of our table over here. And the CSV file was called student grades as well. You can give it any name you want, right? You just want to be sure that you're giving it the right name. Let's run this. Okay, so now we see that all the rows have been printed in our CSV file, meaning that it has worked. Okay, and it's printing done, meaning that it is done and it works. So if we go back over here into SQL and we click go, we see that everything in our CSV file has been transferred to the database, to the table in the database. And yeah, that's pretty much how it works. So everything is working and all right. Thank you for watching. That's the end of the video. So again, I will post my GitHub repository Python repo so you guys can get the code yourself. Of course, you're gonna have to make slight changes according to what your account is and where you're getting your CSV file from and what your table name is, what the field names are, and like how many values you're putting in. But otherwise, everything else should be the same and it should work for you as well. So yeah, if you enjoyed the video, leave a comment and a like below and subscribe. Thank you. Thanks for watching. Bye.